すごいですね。
いや本当にすごいですね。
はい。
なんか噂によるとどうやらこうゲーム音とかが聞こえない中でチャンピオンを取っただったりとか
なんなのそれ、
はい、いや
どういうこと。
そうなんですよ。
なんかね、その裏のね試合結構環境があんまり良くないみたいな話ありましたけ
は
ど、ゲーム音聞こえながらチャンピオン
いやチャンピオン取って
もう何でもいいじゃんっていうね。
そうなんですよ。めっちゃ体調がいろりませんちょっと悪か
ね、
ったみたいな、
最初ね、
はい
悪かったみ
見
たいなの言って
たんですけども、
ましたけどね。
バチバチダメージ出してましたし
いやいや、だってキル数ね、初日から全体で2番目で、
はい
480人いる中の2番目ですからね。
いやしかも4000ダメージ出てましたからね。
ダブハン取って、
でも環境どうこう言わずにこう結果を出すのやっぱ
いやもう
かっ
本当に
こいいですけどね。
かっこいい
はい。
こっちは全員ね、世界大会初めてにもちろんなりますし、まあ、直樹さんだけが、22年ですかね、スプリット1のリーグ、プロリーグね、経験をしているんですが、まあ、順位としてね、かなり低く、まあ、ここも競技シーンとしては乏しい中での今回ね、もう大躍進ということで、世界にね、その名を知らしめているという。ユラリマはね、結構いろんな海外の選手とか、キャスターがね、名前出してたんで、
いや本当に有名になりましたね。
もう大注目ね
はい
一気に浴びる存在
う
に
ん
なっているかと思います。もう特にウィナーズのラウンド2では6試合中3試合チャンピオンを取っていたという GHS です。もう堂々の今回の勝ち上がりということになっております。いや両方でも十分チャンスありそうですよね、今日ね。
全然
いやありますね。
はい
しかもこうレジェンド版続いていくにつれて攻撃的なムーブが刺さるようなレジェンドが残っていくと思うので、
はい、
それは結構 GHS にとってはかなりいいのではない
確かにこのマッチポイントのバンルールはちょっと噛み合ってる。
あとはこうバボに関しても今まで予選とかも見ててもプレイスメントポイントがかなり高い
はいはいはい。
のでチャンピオン取れるような
うん
試合展開を持ってってるんで、
はい
マッチポイント到達すれば全然バボチャンピオン取る可能性すごく高いと思うんですよね。
ウィナーズファイナルでもね、昨日取ってましたね、
はい
試合目に。まあ、なんでその辺も含めて非常に良さそうな形があります。あとはどうなんですかね、バンでマッチポイント、まあその10試合やった時に、
はい
まあ最大9キャラバンされた状態で戦うわけじゃないですか。
そうですよね。
それがちょっとどういうエイペックスになるのかっていうの
いやそうなんですよね
が全く想像できないんで。
や視野とかがまた
いや、視
め
野
っちゃ採用されると
ね、
かありそうですよね。
なんなら視野もどっかでバンされるぐらいの9体バンされたら。
いやちょっと見たいですけどね。
何が出てくるもオクタンとかね、
うん
移動キャラオクタンとかも全然ありそうな。
これ
はい
スクリームでもこの練習はしてないので選手たちも、
ね、そうですよね、
だから
マッチポイン
本当に
ト形式が
選手たちもぶつけ本番の流れだと思うんですよ、
はい
だからちょっと読めない部分もあるんですけどいかにそこ対応できるか
いや、そうだ、本当だ、
が
対応力ですよね。
今日本当にこれ
うん
めちゃくちゃ出ると思うんで、ちょっとすごい楽しみ。なんか今まで見たことないキャラクターが世界大会決勝で出るなんてことも全然あると思うので、
9キャラバンって結構じゃないですか。
何出てくるんですか
いや、本
ね。
当に。
もうね確かに
생긴
想像つかない
그거
な。
처음
9ま
하는
で
매치
でも
포인트로
結構、まあだからその
무슨
クラスが全部で埋まるかっていうところですよね。
조합이나올지정말기대다
ロックされるなら、まあそれもあるのかなっていうところでは。
そうすねまあコントローラーが結構、
まあコントローラーですかねやっぱり
そう選ばれるんですけど最後にこう
すんよ
全くピックされないコースティックが残ってるのでギリギリまでのなんか残る可能性がありそうです
쇼피파이 한
で
번도
今日1試合ずつでマッ
쓸
プ
것
ローテ
같긴
ーションするんで
한데
すよ。
はい
쇼피파이
します
폼이
ね
워낙
だから今4種類あ
좋아서
るんで
쇼피파이 아니면은
ただその
팔콘
噛み合いでワールドエッジがいいところに来たらもしかしたらコースティックみんな拾
ひょっとしたら
って。
그냥 유관력 있는 애들이
コントロー
우승할
ラ
것
ーがまあ
같아요.
解放されるみたいな展開もあるのかもしれないですけど、
백티, 쇼피파이,
全く想像できない
想像がつ
팔콘
かないですね。まあでもその天候ブームとかはマットマギーとかを
결국
ずっと使ってたん
얘네들이
ですけど
ね
なかなか結構バンされにくいレジェンドだと
バンされないでしょうね
아,
思うの
근데
で
이게 되게
割と
이번 대회가
이
변수가 있는 게
そうですね。
밴픽
今回は多分一
때문에
回もなくて、まあやっぱりカタリストと
결국
ニューキャッス
진짜
ル、
안 쓰는
はい
まあ、ク
캐릭터도
リプ
써야
ト、バ
될
リス
것
ティック、オル
같아서
ターあたりがかなり早い段階で、昨日ヒューズがね、
うん
バンされるシーンもありましたけれども、
NRG
ま
우승해서
あ大体その辺ですよね、でも。
はい。
저 미국
その
명은
次ぐらい
키미가
にやっぱバンガロールとかレイスと
증명해줬으면
かって
좋긴
なっ
하죠.
てきてそこからはもう想像つかないですね。
確かにそうですね。
근데 이번에
その先が待っているのか
바보도 충분히
そういう意味では
할만할 것
本当
같은
に
게
初めてのね、世界大会
이게
の決勝戦になりますの
노스
で
인원들이
楽しみ
캐릭터
ですね。
풀이 넓다고
6試合
전
目以降とかは
세계적으로
なんか移動
이야기를
キャラ
좀 많이
強い
해서
バルキリーだったりとか、
뱀픽 시스템
마기도 뭐
겹치면
하는 줄
생각보다
알았네.
괜찮게 플레이할
어.
수도
確かに
있겠다라는
マギもそうです
생각이
ヒューズ、バリスティックあたりがいなくなったら、
はい
この辺多分攻撃的なチームは入れてくると思いますけどね。
약간 그리고
さあそしてキルリーダーボードも出てますが
いいゴミ
インペリアルハルが
ちょっと
121キルで圧倒的です、まあ、試合数が多いの
エリミネー
で
ションをいってるんで、そこでね、しっかりキル数取ってますよね。
いや多分近年でもハルが多分一番試合戦った世界大会になってるんで、 逆にその調整
5천
切っちゃってる感じあるなっていうのは
うん
私は感じるんですよね。
いやでもなんか春はもう今回キャラ連動とかもしっ
내가
かり仕
딱
上げてき
보자마자
てて
5070.
昨日ちょっと
うん
小丸さんと一緒にミラーで見てたんですけども、春は一番仕上がってるって言ってましたね。
常に仕上がってますよね。
8回ですかね、チームファルコンズはチャンピオン取ってきたので、9回ですね、昨日のウィナーズファイナル合わせて。やっぱりちょっとその勢いはね、
스탯은 진짜 falcon
逆に自信に
스탯이
も
너무
つ
좋다.
ながってるかもしれ
しっ
ません。
かり勝ち上這い上がってきてますからね。
エリミネーション
から。
2からね、勝ち上がってきたんで、久々のね、王座奪還となるのかというチームファルコンズ。
포컬릭스.
まあ、あとはいつも通りアライアンスとかもね、やっぱり勝ち上がってきてますんで、
そうですね。
結構ボーダー
포컬릭스도
ラインとかに
되게
いて
CC
マジかって言われても
팀 치고
結局上がってくるんですよ
いや
ね。
ー
뚫고
そう
올라와서
ですよ。
되게 신기하게
さすがの
봤는데
自力の高さですね。
アライアンスだからもう9大会連続決勝戦とかでしょ、
바꾸는 실력이
とんでもないですね。
毎回必ず出てきて、
맛있게
毎回必ず
밥잘
決勝にも残るという信じられないような
네, 저
アベレージのチ
플로팅
ームな
트위터
のに
보니까
高いですね。
ALGS
너무
밥이네
쏘았어요.
하면서 ALGS 10네 하면서 막 그런 게시글도 올리고 하더라고요.
9大会で。
실제로 그런 말 할
か
정도로
なり
되게
現れてましたからね。
このトゥエルカホリックスのそうフローティング選手のクリップ、昨日ちょっといっぱい見たんですよ。
아,
はい
근데
はい、もうありえないぐらい強いですね。
오픈에서
아,
5등하게
아,
들면
아,
플레이오프
아,
갈 수 있거든요.
99とかボルトとかを
はい
結構好んで使う選手なんですけど、
うん
全部ワ
大手が出るんだ
ンマガジンみたいな
はい
クリップ上げてて、
5등하면
化け
되는.
物強えなってなりましたね。
5등 안에 들어서 플레이오프 가서 플레이오프에서도 증명한다?
まあ持てない人はエヴァ持つみたいな形だったんですけど、
저기 챔피언십도 진출할 수 있을
を
거고.
持ってるっていうね。しかもほぼ
그럼
マ
내년에
あ
프로리그
のなんか
바로
体の出し方とかもうまいん
그
です
인바이트
よね。
되는
ワ
거죠.
ンマ99のデメリットって
試合
やっぱワンマガジンで
일단 올해까지는
なかったら
하지
その
않을까요?
分
はい。
아무리
隙ができちゃうので、なんか遮蔽物使いながらその隙をうまく抜けてる
모르겠네.
ようなプレース
라스도
タイルで
중간에 쉬다가
使い方
가기도
が本当にうまいん
했었어.
ですよね。
まあ、必ずワンマができるなら
そうだな
99ならね、
うん
理論じゃ高い。
근데 일단 프로리그 남은
네,
일정은 다
네.
소화해야 되니까.
まあでもやっぱそれができない
ミドシーズン
ちょっと生の
プロ
生
そうなんですよね
に今
理論値出し続けてる
言ってるんですけど、だ
理
から唯一ね、
由なんじゃない
初日ユラリマンの
ラスト
記録を上回ってたのはフローティング選手だった。
후반기는 도망갈지도.
このトゥエルカホリックス
바로
の、
군대로
はい
DT.
アメリカズリージョ
うん
ンの、PSQ でポイント
そうなんですよね
15位とかなんですよ
はい、
ね。
あ
皆さん聞きなじみないチームだと思うんですけど、
もう魔境すぎますよね。
뭐 말로는
ですよね本当にやっぱり
오픈
その予選
성적으로
から
EWC
まあだからそのオー
초대한다고는
プン
하던데
大会にしてる意味はありますよね、今回ね。
そうですよね
本当に。
그렇게 해도 CR은
まあ、あ
안
る種
되고
誰でもね、ここま
만약
で繋がってる
프로리그
道ではあるので
성적이나 작년 챔십 성적으로 간다고 쳐도 좀 애매하지
99
않을까라는
だからってい
게.
うのもあるかもしれないんですけど、
はい。
와 EWC 못 가지 않을까요? CR로
確かに P20 が
うん
メタの中であれができるのはいいかもしれないですね。
本当だちょっと
本当に相手より早く。
못 갈 것 같긴 한데.
外したら負けますからね P20 に。
はい、確か
ワンマガジン
に。そうなん
で
ですよね。
倒しきれなかったら負けますから P20 にリ
はい
ロードのタイミングで。
それでいうとやっぱアルブラレイ選手とかも
うん
99ばっか使ってますよね。
이
あ
3년
そうっすよね
昨日
갈려나?
も
이 3년
ク
도
レーバー
모르겠네.
99とかでなんかラバサイフォンのアンチで無双してましたもんね。
そうなんですよ。いつもなんかこうメタと違う武器を使って強いんですよね。ウィングマン99とかそういった構成もしま
너무
したもんね。
이르게 떨어져서
やっぱでも昔 TSM でパスファインダー使いながら輝いていた
うん
アルブラレリ見てきてるんで、
はい。
ちょっとまた注目されてるのすごい個人的には嬉しいですけどね。
うん
いやだってね、ちょっと今回完全復活で1位通過ですもんね、だってみんな
うん
1位通過ツイステッドマインズは。
さっきも入場シーンでこう観戦も湧き上がってましたもんね。
プレシーズン以来っすよ、
의자는 좀
もし正解したの
불편할
は
것 같긴 한데
いや
관중석
本当
あの
楽しみですね
TSM 以来のね。
直近ちょっとやっぱ不調気味だったので、
そうですよねはい
いや本当嬉しいですよね。
노스팀 잘해줘서 그래
しかも
바보하고
ね今日バンシ
GCS
ステ
부
ム
잘해줘서
の流れで見
기분은
たらパ
좋아.
スファインダーとかもね出る可能性十分
いやありますね。
確かにありそうですね。結構移動
약간
キャラクタ
윤석
ーが
의자
限られちゃう
そうなんですよね。
ってるので、
はい。
でも
평면이라서
マルキリとかレイスまでバンされてくると
바로
次出すのなんだって言ったら
선수들
パスファインダ
지나가는
ー
まあ
거
そう
되게
です
と
좋아.
かになってきそうですね。
はい
사포로 갔을 때는
そしてグリーンステゴもね、まあ、
관중석이랑
札幌でも非常に成績が良かった
입장하는
ん
곳
ですが、
선수석이랑 분리돼 있어서 완전.
今大会さらに好調という戦いを見せてくれています。
いや強いですねグリーンステゴ。
強いですよね
ファ
やっぱサウス1位で抜けてきてるんで、まあメンバー見るとねジッキー、アジアズ、デクスター、
まあそうですね。
もともとサウスでずっと上位取ってる3人ですからね。
세고. 아 경기장 책상은
その強さを存分に見せているという今大会になっております。
책상은 그쵸 여기 경기장 책상은 좀
でも本当予選からね勝ち上がったチームが非常に活躍していますので、 まあでも割とやっぱ攻撃的なアルカドシアとかもそうですけど、チーム多いかもしれないですね。
ですね。
はい、
やっぱ
強い
強いのチームファイト
플라스틱
全員
책상
強いんですよ
행사장
ね。
같은 데서
あん
진짜
なに
쓸
短
것
が強
같은
い
책상처럼
選手が
생긴 것 같아.
うじゃうじゃいる中でし
はい
っかり毎回 VK
메인
の
스테이지
3人と
책상은 아마 평소에 쓰던 비슷한 거 썼을 것 같은데
グリーンステゴと
はい。
서브
QAD
스테이지
알카도시아.
책상이
아,
되게 간이 책상
チー
같은
ム名は変わ
느낌이
っても
좀
3人と
강하더라고.
もこれよく見る選手
まあ
たち
そうですね、
ばっかりです
結局
ね。
中身はね、
はい
ストレーフィングフレームとフライシートみたいなね、
うん
元からバーガーやモイストやブラックハンドで活躍してた選手です。
やっぱりこうバトロワだと
うん
運っていう人たちもいるんですけど、しっかり強いところは毎回勝ち抜いてきてるんですよ。
いや、そうなんですよね。
ちゃんとこう運も
はい
運要素もありつつもそれちゃんと引き寄せる動きを
うん
絶対してるので、さすがだなと思いますよね。本
いや、
当に
本当そうですね、毎回ね。だってそしたらやっぱアライアンスなんかね、
うん
9大会連続出場の9
そうですよね
大会連続決勝なんかやっぱ
うん
運では説明できないですからね。
まあ今回のその決勝の進出チームでいうと、まあ、アメリカの
아,
11
전
チーム
언제까지
はい
뽑냐.
エイパックサウス5チームもいるんですよね。
そうなんですよ、
めちゃくちゃいますね
これ最多っすね、それ多分。
そうなんですよ、
はい
エイパックノースとイーミアが2チームずつで、
はい
で合計20なんですけども、
うん
結構やっぱエイパックサウスってこうプレイヤーの人数とかが他のリージョンに比べるとちょっと
うんね
少なかったりするんですけど、その中でもうこんだけ出てきてくるっていうのはもう本当すごいですね。
いや、そうですね。
そう
아, 근데 생각보다 이번에 퍼즐 많이 안 걸리긴 하는데.
ソウル e スポーツももともとギルドの2人とシャーキー、もともと世界大会優勝経験者の1人のシャーキーが入ってますからね。
うん、確かにそうですね。
メンバーはやっぱすごいですよね。
確かに今結構エイパックサウスの強さが際立ってるかもしれないですね。
아, 그때 그게 진짜 말이 안 되긴
5
했죠.
チームですね。
初でしょうね、多分グランドファイナル5チームは。
本当にね、みんなフィジカル強いんですよね
フ。ィジカルがもうなんか違いますよね。
なんか
サウスで
勢い違う気がしますね。なんか
はい
ファイトになった時のこう取り切りに行く時のスイングの仕方とか。
JHS.
まあ、オフラインのね、最初の世界王者は地域としてはエイパックサウスでしたからね、ゼロたちは。ジェンバー店ね、当時。そう GHS ブーム映ってますね。今の勢いそのままキープできるでしょうか。世界でも注目集めているユラリマン。
いやこことかももちろん強かったんですけど、
ん
昨日のルーザーズファイナルですかね、
はい
でビーンアンチですね、IMC の隣で 1v3 クラッチ仕掛けてたんで、
はい。
ユラリマン選手、相手全員フル HP だったのに、
はい。
もう500ダメージぐらい一瞬で出して、いや、マジでびっくりしましたね。
아니, 유라리맨이
それができ
개
るなら
잘해.
ね、もう
그냥
一番いいですよね。どんな状況も返せるんで。
いや、本当に強い選手だなと思いましたね。
Sunday is as tough as it gets. So while GHS Boom, they know how to finish games, they know how to play through the mid game. A big question mark around this team is going to be how they
진짜
balance
너무
those
잘해.
things because it is a constant journey for them throughout the course of this entire ALGS Open. Now the other APAC North team that you're likely expecting to hear me talk about, because there are only two of them after all, is Babo.
바보.
They've been weirdly quiet. I mean, I know we get really excited hearing about Babo because
Just
아니.
saying Babo, I get excited.
What's the name?
Yeah.
뭐라?
exactly.
그
They've been a really consistent team. They
이게
have not been the most
듣기가
exciting
이게
team.
좀-
Babo, in contrast to GHS,
아,
took
이게
the zone
뭔
style that has
기분이지,
been working
이게?
for them in the challenger circuit. and turned that into a fantastic performance in the ALGS Open. Their zone style hasn't really changed at all. They haven't pushed the aggression, and yet they managed to make it in through the winner's bracket. They're a quiet team. They don't make a lot of noise, and yet Babo have really impressed me with the fact that even
Babo.
while flying under the radar, they made it all the way through the winner's run, and now are sitting here in what is arguably a lobby where zone play and good zone play can be rewarded the most. It's a team we never would have seen coming out of Challenger Circuit, never been at LAN before, and yet they made a finals their first time flying out to an international event. That's pretty impressive, Randa.
It's really impressive, and some of these teams you highlighted, you've been watching. The only thing that kind of went in their way was a team called Twerkaholics, who would end up destroying any idea of zone play whatsoever when they showed up. And so all these plans went haywire. They're in this lobby as well. So that's just adding to the chaos of what's about to play. But speaking of two representatives, keeping track of APAC North is pretty easy. Unfortunately, for a big region, ALGS usually keeping track of EMEA is pretty easy too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it, okay?
Yeah.
So we're going to highlight the only two EMEA teams that have now made it into our match point finals. And I want to start by pulling up a tweet here from Hackus because he talked about it, okay? Only two EMEA teams in the finals of this open LAN, which is crazy because from having the best performance of all of the regions in Japan, straight into this, which is now the worst one, that's definitely a turning of the tide, to say the least. Definitely unfortunate, but you know, Hackus notes that he still doesn't have an ALGS trophy, and he does think it is about time to acquire one. So I love that we're still getting Alliance in here, the confidence out of a team that is Alliance. And they have made a really strong winners bracket run, but we weren't seeing it. We saw this on day one when we were in our early group stage. We were seeing these insane high kill performances out of Alliance. They were going in, specifically slaying out, knowing that they were just trying to get to the next stage of the competition. As things progressed on, they slowed down a little bit when it comes to that aggression, which we were seeing consistently out of likes of, like you mentioned, the Twerkaholics in the lobbies, and it was still working for them. One of the things that Alliance probably will struggle with is the fact that we're now at match point, and for the first time ever, we've got all 4 of these maps involved in match point. They are still wildly strong on our classics of World's Edge and Stormpoint, starting to struggle a little bit with the new ones in Aegis and Broken Moves. So we'll see if they're maybe able to pick up their plays when it comes to those, or really work around them in the flow of maps for match point finals. So, I mean, but a squad like this, like you said, they've already got a win under their belts when it comes to a trophy. Just not an ALGS one, and you know they're going to be fighting for it, especially if they can get into a groove where you have
일단 노스 팀 잘했으면 좋겠고 개인적으로 저 쇼피파이 팬이라서 쇼피파이 꼬이풀 팬이라서 쇼피파이가 한 번 더 우승해줬으면 좋겠다라고 생각하고 있어요.
And then you get Cat for the other team who we just saw, the last squad walking in on our team walkouts. This is kind of a cool story for me because this is a relatively fresh roster, Taxington, Adam, and Calamitous, and I want to talk about them a little bit here because if there's only 2 teams that make it through from the region, this has got to be saying something about the squad. So now they were one of those teams, we watched them last night, they came through from Elim finals, and they had just barely made their way in. They were that 10th place squad, and they were 1 point above Team Orchid. So that's how close our elimination finals were. They are one of those teams that's managed to have their best map, BE District, a newer squad, better on the newer maps. Their worst one is World's Edge. And we talked about this at the very beginning of the Pro League split. When we were introducing these new maps, are the less established squads going to really prioritize these newer maps and start to become the experts on those, knowing that we have teams with years and years of experience in the competition that already have Stormpoint and World's Edge nailed down. It seems like that's what is working for Cat right now. And of course, one little quick note, Taxington did talk to Zephyr and tell him on day 1 that they were absolutely making it into match point finals, and now they're here.
Wow. I mean, we have set the stage more than this is a stage, because this is a relaxed stage right here. We have set a whole second stage for you guys to understand the stakes here and the teams around. Thank you, everybody, for all that amazing analysis, and also for you guys. Now you're prepped, ready to go. Who do you think is going to take this? If you're in the crowd, let us know. If you are at Twitch chat or watching on YouTube chat, let us know as well, because we obviously come to play with our ideas. So far, our talent predictions have been pretty one-sided, I will say, in favor of, you know, me right here, which has been
that's messed up.
It's been rare. It's been, you know, I'm taking it as it comes, but we've all set up for ours here for this one. I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to show you what they look like in a second, but I know you guys have all got your ideas on who you're picking. I mean, let's go down the line. I mean, Lauren, who do you have today?
I went with NRG, and I know some people in the crowd are definitely going to be on board with that.
Twisted Mind.
I love it.
I went Twisted Minds. Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, NRG, I think that's 100 Thieves, guys. Like Adia, I see you going for that. A lot of people going for 100 Thieves. They were up there.
쇼피파이. 그렇게 예상 다들 할 것 같은데.
After my rants last night, Workaholic.
Twisted Mind도 있었구나.
Seriously, wow, that would be amazing if that team could win LAN.
Honestly,
think about that life-changing situation that would
for
happen.
any team to come in from CC to make it this far, make it through the winners bracket as well. I just kind of want to have faith in that one, and especially because their playstyle has been so much fun. Being able to see them run through teams like NRG and Fury at times in the winners bracket is absolutely absurd. So how can you not cheer for that.
Yeah, I mean, look at the representation too. Green
역시
Stego, Genome going with Apex South.
제이멀슨 그냥
keeping with the Mia.
맨날 제이멀슨 맨날
Wow, he's trying to, he gives up. I guess he gives up basically. He's trying to take second place. And then Falcons
맨날
from
제이멀슨
competitive
혼자
Apex.
맨날
You guys have
이상한
done a
팀
great job keeping up with us.
이상한 팀은
You're
아니지만
beating
혼자
almost every
다른
single
팀
talent member except me.
선택하고
So will
있었는데.
this be the day? If Falcon,
이번엔
you know,
뭐
we'll see, guys. It's
털콜릭도
going to be fun.
잘하긴
Also, if you're
했으니까.
watching, remember that you can collect Twitch drops every 30 minutes. If you watch for 2 hours today, you're not only going to get the blue napkin hollow spray, you'll get all of them. So you'll get the red zone pathfinder, the hotline volt skin, the incoming sticker every 30 minutes. You're going to be getting a new Twitch drop. So if you haven't gotten them, you've been here hanging out at the venue, open up your phone, use some of the Wi-Fi, throw that laptop on, call your mom, say, Mom, just go to twitch.tv/playapex and just leave it there. That would be amazing because you guys will have these very special things to remember this moment by. The ALGS Open has been a unique format that has put us into a position to have history be made. There are teams that aren't even in Pro League playing for their share of $1 million right now. And there are teams that have created the almost narrative of Apex Legends esports for years, having a chance to prove whether they're going to continue creating that narrative or maybe if their time is up. All of that on the line here on Championship Sunday, and it's time to get it going. So there's none other than two of my favorite guys and favorite casters to kick off the action and get the energy hype in the building. Let me hear the crowd for your two go-to guys. It's Onset and Gasket.
Too kind. Thank you very much, New Orleans. We're going to need that energy as these games start to drip by, but what an occasion this is. We all know how special a Sunday feels here, and this one in New Orleans, even when we arrive at the venue, queues around the building, everybody's cheering, everyone's smiling, and they haven't even got inside yet, but now we're here. Match Point Finals has arrived, Dan.
And the best part, we have LAN champions on the stage, 10 of them to be precise, and then we also have about half the lobby who've never really got to this position before, may have never got to this position before if it wasn't for the ALGS Open.
Well, let's look at the map rotation. We'll explain how this is going to work today. It's going to be a challenge in our Match Point Finals. We are starting match number 1 on Broken Moon. Then we change over to Storm Point, then to World's Edge, then to E District, and then we reverse that order. So we'll go back to E District, then to World's Edge, then if needed, Storm Point and Broken Moon, and etc. etc.
And then it keeps going.
Keeps going back and forth.
Then you go to Broken Moon again.
그리고 한국 입장에서 역대급으로 시간도
The only time we'll ever see
그때가
one map
최고였다.
played twice in a row will be E District and Broken Moon. And of course, it gets very interesting when you
Let's
get to the
go,
kind
Broken
of 7,
Moon.
8, the more average placement where things finish usually in a Match Point Finals.
Well, let's look at the draft here for Broken Moon. This is where the results of the elimination bracket and the winners bracket were so important.
보자,
This is what Broken Moon will look like.
And this is so interesting to see because the first time we've had 4 maps in Match Point Finals that meant if you were in that top 10, you were guaranteed at least one good
바보랑
POI on one
JHS랑
of these
바로
maps. And you can see
쇼피파이
our top 2 teams,
100T.
Twisted Mind and NRG, both prioritize Broken Moon here. So we have to focus on NRG for this one. They could put down some maybe big points in match number 1.
So many amazing stories, so many players who are looking just to end those stories on a high today. But as you can see,
이거지.
every single team and player is ready to get the action underway here. New Orleans, it's time for our Match Point Finals. Match number 1. Broken Moon is where we start it all.
There's no Sunday like a Match Point Finals
백도동
Sunday,
펄컨
and as I've
올라가네.
already alluded to, NRG certainly the team to watch when it comes to
동쪽에
Broken Moon.
가버렸어.
Not just because of their drop position, but they have the best average points on this map throughout the entire tournament as well. They average about 11.7 points per map. So if they're dropping something like that, they'll certainly put themselves close to Match Point already.
Well, one team who would have rested very well last night after the insane elimination bracket run that they went on is Team Falcons. Waltzy, Zero, and
I'm good, created. I'm actually pretty fitted. I think Yama looks good scout.
안 뜨냐?
We can get it from the line. I got Eva.
아 뜬다.
We zip up here.
어떻게 볼까요? 그냥 메인만 볼까 그냥?
This morning, a lot of people backing Twisted Minds today. A lot of Twisted Minds fans who want to see the likes of Albrele have that little comeback, get back on top and lift that championship. So it's a fantastic start for them, getting that zone here on Broken Moon.
You can see Envy were moving very fast from Spaceport. They had a ring console and they're arguably going to get one of the strongest buildings on that northwest side as well. So Envy and Twisted Minds, two of the favorites maybe already, purely based off a priority position. As we check in with 9 Lives, who actually, you heard the desk talking about it, Broken Moon has been very kind to them as well. They've been able to find 2 victories so far, and maybe they're good for another one. It's a big fight.
It's the Twerkaholics though! And Vayne is left on his own, and the Twerkaholics have 2 down.
트월크 올리기 새끼들 그냥 괴물인데.
If you wondered today how the Twerkaholics are going to be playing in the match point finals, well, it's going to be exactly the same as how they got here.
그냥 다 때리고 다니네. 아니 무서움이라는 게 없는 팀인가? 아이고. 어우 잔이네. 저거 진짜 저 팀 팬 입장에서 너무 고통스럽다. 고통스럽겠다. 나는 팬이 아니니까. 나일라이스 저 팀 팬들은 그냥 지금 너무 심정이 좀 아프겠는데.
Strafing Flame obviously leading the line as the IGL for this team. Alcatia trapped inside of this building at the moment, and we're seeing that also a third party potentially arriving here. VP. Have a little look.
Yeah, very dangerous area for Alcatia because this is one of the prime rotating positions as you go through quarantine zone, as you try and skirt around not to get caught in the typical choke on the north. As we check in with NRG, a little bit of fire they're taking at the moment, only white armors as well.
Yeah, well, so it's about 5 or 6 teams in and around this western side of where this zone is going to be going, and that's why you're seeing it be so chock-a-block with everyone trying to get through a couple of these chokes. Fury going to have to use the Void Nexus and get Keon rezzing, knocked as well on the altar. They will be able to do so. So their first attempt at a rotation doesn't work too well. It was actually Cat who were holding them down in quarantine zone. So they've still got some traveling to do here before they get to where that zone is going to be pulling.
Speaking of Cat, Catalyst is the most picked legend alongside Newcastle, so depending on who wins this game, it's going to be either Catalyst or Newcastle banned for match 2, which, again, we haven't really spoken about it, but legend bans in a match point finals is not something we've ever seen before. If we get to match 9, match 10, match 11, think of how many legends will be gone at that time.
Makes it even more interesting that we're switching maps every single map as well.
Yep.
Like every single game we are switching maps. That makes the compositions even more difficult to judge. Going to be a lot of fun to watch this match point finals today. As we jump on board with Fury, who did get that reset that we saw a few moments ago, and now try and continue their path here to quarantine zone. Looks like they might be trying to hit a survey beacon, as now we have some action going down. It's going to be Dexter from Green Stego who gets the knock on to Guild.
Yeah, Green Stego have the advantage at the moment, and they're going to push and get aggressive, but Yanyo is waiting! Yanyo is ready! Oh,
he misses! NRG are eliminated. Green Stego will be still with 2 on their feet. Should be able to get the reset here, but no, maybe not. It looks like the team who are trying to move in here is Alcatia, who we saw a little bit further away from this position a few moments ago, but now they're trying desperately to see if they can capitalize on the opportunity to take down these Green Stego players. They find one! Strafing Flame with some fantastic shots coming out from the Nemesis.
Will Green Stego rue the day that they pushed onto NRG, because now it's just opened up the chance for someone else to come in and clean them up, and it's going to be Alcatia. Yes, they're still alive for now, but for how long is the real question.
Alcatia with 2 and managed to get the finish onto one. Dexter trying to find a route away. You can see that they know exactly where he is. They're trying to chase it down. We'll keep an eye on our kill feed to see if it will be the end of their game. But elsewhere, you can see Babo. What an incredible story it is to see these gentlemen in our finals lobby. Green Stego have been eliminated. Dexter wasn't able to survive, so we're now down to 17 in a few seconds' time, even though Pinky is doing everything he can to survive a few seconds longer. This could be the end of Babo too.
It's just so compact, so dense here with all the teams that have found themselves up towards core. If you lose a player or two, it's going to be very difficult to escape and rat out and even find a single placement point. You can see Zainu's actually trying to find an angle here from Shopify Rebellion and will spot out Pinky. And Shopify Rebellion just saying, hey, this could be one extra point that could get us closer towards that match point threshold.
It could be one extra point, but they're obviously so nervous about giving away their position in core as well. Don't want to overextend too much. Finally, it will be Koifor with that scout who will get the knock and get the finish, and Bubba will be eliminated as well. So 4 teams out the lobby already, and all these chokes that these teams are having to move through. You can see why this action is relatively quick at the start of the game here on Broken Moon, excuse me. Sorry, force a habit from me.
I mean, Broken Moon is just one of those maps that it rewards sheer aggression. You can't really afford to slow it down too often, otherwise you will be punished. But at the same time, you have to be always prepared for that third party, just as first match already. And again, it was just a couple of those whiffed hip-fire shots from the G7 Scout. It's never really fun when you have to whip that Scout out as backup.
Well, keep my eyes on the Twerkaholics because it's always fun to do. You can see over at Dry Gulch on the left-hand side of your screen how Kadzia having picked a little bit of KP up in that battle that we saw a little bit earlier against Green Stego. Might have to keep their backs clear as well because the Twerkaholics will be looking to close in on that position. Looking at the zone, though, great position here for Envy. You can see they're pretty isolated away from a lot of the traffic that is coming in through those chokes on the southern side. So Envy set up for a pretty good game here.
And remember, they were at Spaceport. They instantly moved to that building. I mentioned it right off the drop, but the question is, how healthy are they? How much loot do they have? What weapons have they got? Have they got any ammo to work with? Do they have any shields to work with? These are all the things that are hard to come by if you are the first to move to zone. And of course, where is that zone going to shift? Because it goes towards core, Envy might struggle. Now Furia, they've lost Noct, but Madness and Keon still back to back, looking to see whether they can get back up with the Void Nexus.
Yeah, we'll be able to. There's no one else really near Fury here. They're just trying to find a way towards zone. Maybe Noct was looking to move forward and get another Void Nexus down a little bit closer to zone for them to try and port 2, but work this time around. They will be able to reset. Falcons taking a little bit more of a scenic route here. They're over at Stasis Array, crafting their way and looking to get some more Evo to approach this zone with purple armors for sure. It's going to be a tough rotate for them. They've got Alliance who are holding them out towards Cliffside if they decide to try and go that way.
It will be an interesting match point finals for Falcons as well, having that 11th seed for the pick in the POI draft, but statistically, they've actually performed better when they've had a worse POI draft position in this tournament rather than they having the #1 pick. So maybe that's something they can use to their advantage.
Falcons have managed to get a little bit ahead of where Alliance's position was, as you can see on your screen here, so shouldn't be too worried. And now they're ahead of Alliance. It's a case of do they want to try and hold them out, or do they want to try and find their way into zone? The problem is for Falcons here, they've got ahead of Alliance, but now they've got 100 Thieves and S8UL in front of them. So all of their rotates are going to be very, very difficult. Twerkaholics, safe for the next zone. No one really near them, but getting in from this position is going to be tough.
Yeah, look, they're safe for the next zone, but they're thinking about moving south because they're trying to work out where would teams be that are still rotating late, and they're assuming it would be from this southern side. I mean, bad news for them is they are actually the latest to the zone, but maybe they can come across Fury, who are currently holding that choke, as now we're going to see a push here from GHS. Boom.
Mad Maggie, first pick.
Ooh, Maggie.
Love that. Carter from Empire trying to hold the line. Yari Man's going to go down, and now GHS Boom, evening up the numbers momentarily, becomes a 1v2 on the side of Riley. Riley Mechanic trying to do what he can. Oh my, he clutches here for Empire. Big moment for them.
Worth noting, Empire, the only team in the lobby who have not won a match so far this entire tournament, but it could come soon if they play that way. Interestingly, Empire actually were one of the best Broken Moon teams throughout the tournament as well, consistently putting up points, and you can see what a great fighting squad.
It's always good to keep in mind that, you know, as we have a pause coming in, I know everybody, I know, bear with us.
I know everybody.
It's a pause, not a stop. We'll be back, don't worry. Something to mention about Empire, though, it's like, it's funny, isn't it? You mentioned they haven't won a game yet, but now we're at match point finals.
Imagine.
Doesn't really matter, just win one game now. Just win one game throughout a tournament and you become the champions here, but I am very interested in the way that these games have started, especially some of the teams who have played a certain way to get to this position. I love the fact that Twerkaholics still turn up here. Championship Sunday, match point finals, first time that they would have made it here. Nobody expected them to make it here, and they're sticking with the same game plan. They are looking to take that early fight. They are looking to put KP on the board. They want to rush towards match point, and the way that they're doing it, it just throws everyone off, it feels, in the lobby.
And we're just replacing a controller on stage, one of the players having an issue with it, so that's why there is the pause, and we'll just make sure they are sorted before we get back into the game. And just a reminder for anyone who's new to watching Apex Legends, of course, there are many fans watching around the world, may have never experienced match point finals before.
Totem.
It is a very easy way to approach these finals. You just have to wear as many hats as you can, and then you
just qualify for the finals.
리스타트하면은
It's crazy, really.
폭풍 이렇게 해야지 이거.
It's going to be first to 50 points, gets you onto match point, and then you have to win one match after that, and that's how you will achieve a victory here at this lap.
We see the 100 Thieves Ultras, they're out there,
저거
Envy fans as well. And for all the talk of the Falcons run, you've got to remember that Envy did something very similar yesterday. You saw the embrace between both Falcons and Envy. I think they were just happy for each other that they'd managed to make it through that elimination bracket and, of course, into our finals. But 100T, they didn't have to worry about the Lim finals. They went straight through the winner's side, straight to this finals, and you got to say they look pretty darn good doing so.
Well, I said we have 10 champions on the stage who have lifted a trophy before in ALGS history. There's 3 of them right there on your very screen. One of the favorites for sure to win the entire thing today. When you think about being composed under pressure, not panicking in that final circle, when you get given that opportunity to win, 100 Thieves, they ooze that confidence. And I would not be surprised if at some point in these match point finals, they get the opportunity to win this whole thing. The real question is, will they take it?
It's such a fascinating thing when we look at the match point format, because so many teams get there to 50 points. They get the opportunity, but when it arises, it feels so different. It feels from how they normally would play one of those end games. You see the nerves,
후면 디자인 너무 예뻐서 그냥 계속
and they aren't able to convert on that
한국 와서도
opportunity.
계속 그냥 밖에 나가 놀러
But for
갈
now,
때
looks like we're moments away from the match being back on pause, and our first match here continue on Broken Moon. So let's raise that noise a little bit more here, New Orleans. Let's get these players ready to get back into this game, and let's see
내시 모자 다들 쓰고 있는 거 왜 이렇게 귀여워?
Gunshots, panic, everyone make sure you remember where you are on the map, and okay, we're all right, no one's died, everything's fine, but the Twerkaholics are going to be pushing in on Furia. This is what I was saying about the southern side of this zone. Furia are currently holding it, and Twerkaholics, they have to really have a consideration here. Do we go all the way round to the eastern side of the map? But remember, Alliance currently reside there.
They do, but our Alliance is going to expect this, because this is a, by very definition, extremely late decision and rotate from them. Alliance very good at watching their backs, but they're going to be tested here. Twerkaholics are going to take the long route. They're going to make sure that they try and force this fight, but if it doesn't work for Twerkaholics, that could be the end of this game.
They're going to take a lot of damage to the zone here. If Alliance catch wind of it, Alliance have just left. That is a godsend for the Twerkaholics. They can push through cliffside, they can arrive on the east, and they will and should be safe. Maybe 100 Thieves will catch wind of it and pop a few shots that way, but it's a risky rotate from Twerkaholics, but it looks like it's going to work out for now. But even further than that, when you look past where they go, it is like a gauntlet that they have to get through. The teams you have to surpass to get into core.
Well, one thing they could do there is hit the man scan and check, essentially, in zone if there's anyone holding them out. But for now, we're jumping on board with Alliance, the team who just moved from the position that was potentially holding out Twerkaholics. And they're checking their backs here. Unlucky feels that maybe something's not quite right.
By the way, the Twerkaholics are still in zone, and they're heading even further northeast. This is quite the rotation from them. By the way, the zone is pulling northwest as well, but we're checking with Falcons to see whether they can just avoid this gunfire right now.
Shopify Rebellion.
쇼피파이 계속 저 위치 유지하고 있는데 아까 저기 바보 죽었던 위치에서 발콘 들어왔다가 다시 뺐네.
But Waltzy's not going to be so lucky because he runs into Zainu, who has a peacekeeper. Hal's going to have to use the motherload and look for this reset here, but Falcons trying to force their way into zone, have taken some casualties.
Should be okay. Alliance have now spotted Empire, and behind them, the Twerkaholics are starting to arrive, by the way. If this fight lingers too long, the Twerkaholics might just join in.
I think they will have to. And floating doesn't need to be asked twice. This man is always ready to engage. Takes a little bit of damage on the cross here, but on the Wraith, we'll be able to take a few seconds. Just to pop that battery. If he needs to, he can jump into the void to survive. Empire trying to hold down this position.
Empire?
That is towards the backside of zone.
I mean, Empire have already held once. And they've been able to force Alliance to the other side, and I think they noticed the Twerkaholics there as well. So they're more than prepared. They back off slightly. They are not over-engaging here. But you know the Twerkaholics are looking to fight. Now the zone is starting to force a couple of other teams into the equation now.
Cat have to leave. VP are alongside them as well. Only blue armor to work with. They do get the cat wall down to move in towards core from their southern side, but they've got Furia, they've got Falcons, they've got VP surrounding them. The cat wall will be good enough to block off the fight that's going down to their right. They could be able to rotate here without taking too much damage. But as I say that, Waltzy will manage to turn one.
Oh,
And even though there's 2 members still alive here inside of the building from Falcons, this becomes a 2v2! But so many teams getting influential in this fight. Walty will find another one.
Falcons are fighting 2 teams at once here and somehow still staying on top of it. Twerkaholics will be eliminated in the end. Empire have got the better of them. Cat are down to 1. Furia are eliminated and everything's popping off here on Broken Moon.
13 squads remaining. Taxiton the last alive here for Cat. You saw 0 as the last alive momentarily for Falcons as well. 100 Thieves start to tiptoe a little bit closer to the central structure of core here. But they have a long way to go and only 40 seconds to do it. Empire have been eliminated. Alliance in the feed, pick up some KP.
Alliance, another squad that have tasted land victory in international competition before, of course, at EWC last year. As Falcons respawn, Walty and Imperial How. Is anyone there to maybe contest this dropship? But it looks like they're going to be okay, but they will have to move shortly. That zone's about to close in 15 seconds.
Also, the team they're going to have to potentially go through is 100 Thieves towards the core. Shopify Rebellion are just in front of them, but they've just rotated themselves. The good news here for the respawning players is they have some death boxes to play with, so they will be able to get at least a little bit of inventory to make these fights a little bit more comfortable. There is 100 Thieves through the POV of Verhulst on the Newcastle in this game number 1 with a G7 scout in his hand.
Just dropping the purple for the gold armor as well. Utilize those shield cells as best as you can. And I think 100 Thieves are ready to potentially take a fight. There was a Void Nexus that was potentially going to be used as well, but now Falcons start to make their way a little bit further north here.
One of the difficult things here for Falcons is Hal and Walty having just been respawned. They're not going to have the ultimates available to make this rotation any easier. Instead, it's going to be 0. It has the Void Nexus available, but at this point, it's going to be tough to even have an influence with that. It's going to have to be a straight fight. Rival Link Squad's been eliminated, and Walty, alongside How, output a huge amount of damage onto VP here.
It's bait and switch. It's one after the other, and then the third comes in. 0 just waiting for Walty to shield up, and then now he'll tag in as well. But Twisted Minds are watching over this. Falcons have to be careful.
SAUL have gone. Burst Pro have been eliminated, and somehow Falcons are still alive in this situation, and they come out of it off the respawn with some KP alongside it. But now the launch comes in. Enemies down. Twisted Minds deleted. Imperial with the hip fire, but this could be the end here for Falcons. They will be out next.
The Minds were twisted indeed by How, but sadly they'll fall in 7th position. But Falcons put good points on the board for match 1, but that does leave things open now for 100 Thieves, Shopify Rebellion, and do not forget about Envy, who have been in that building this entire game right from the start, waiting for their moment.
Hackers popping the ult excel on the crypto.
각이 많은데
That could be a huge influence. As could shots like that.
팔콘 팔콘만으로 이긴 것도 아니고 아마 쇼피파이가 같이 해서 이긴 게 아닌가 싶어요. 갑자기 왜 이래?
Maybe Alliance looking to get aggressive onto 100 Thieves, but they see the Void Nexus is going to be used by Shopify Rebellion to go central zone.
그냥 단순 3대3 듀오전보다 옆에서 쇼피파이가 같이 찔러줘서.
The fact that effect did go down momentarily, Shopify Rebellion will retreat through that portal.
안돼.
And Pricey from Alcazia threads the needle and manages to avoid connecting with 3 or 4 players who are locked up there.
6 squads, round 5 closing. Shopify Rebellion have just lost 2 by the looks of it. They might be soon to be ended on Broken Moon. Alliance could potentially clean them up. And this is a very patient approach from Alliance, by the way. They are not forcing themselves into the zone because they know they don't have much to work with once they get there.
Well, the catwalk comes in from 100T. That's going to allow them to move a little bit closer towards the zone. But look at this prediction coming in from effect. So much damage being done. Unlucky gets the pick on a jet button as Pricey starts to shatter some shields.
100 Thieves are being pressured from a lot of angles right now, but the Newcastle will save them for the time being, and it's a whiff from Pricey on the second attempt.
Strafing Flame, though, is alongside his teammate to pick up 100 Thieves, trying to force their way towards zone. It's only a duo, though. Pricey now turns his attention a little bit closer to zone. It's a 2-10. Shopify Rebellion have been eliminated in the meantime. 100 Thieves will go down next. Alliance now moving to clean up Alcazia. Alliance into the top 3.
Got dropped, but Envy will be okay. They'll be able to get him back up. Now suddenly it's VK Gaming, Envy and Alliance. You'll have 3 teams. It's south, it's west, it's north, it's 3v3v3. This is Apex Legends. This is now when you look to your IGLs to say, what can we do here to try and win this game?
Well, the worrying thing here for Alliance is Effect is a little bit separate from the rest of his team, and I think he's a bit trapped behind that truck.
Building!
What? It's less
Do not. Disable that. I need bats. Also,
Team on Billy trying to walk up Brett. Give you fuck this.
Okay.
Trying to force them to fight where they can become the third party. Missile Swarm comes in from Zap on the Valkyrie in game number 1 here.
I mean, Alliance are the most warmed up when it comes to fights in this game. They're already on 19 points as it stands, whereas Envy and VKG have kind of been waiting for this moment, hoping to get a victory.
VKG are taking damage.
Oh, and it's going to be an absolute shred of shields, and it looks like Alliance will be able to take them down.
올라랑 MB랑 1대1이다.
Now
이거
it's just a straight
올라 상태가
3v3.
너무
Hackers with
좋은데.
the Kraber in his hands put the last bullet to use just to
올라
influence how
각인데,
that
이거.
fight went. And now, in our first game, here in New Orleans, in our match point finals, it's a 3v3 Alliance taking on Envy. Hackers takes the high ground, Lucky's down.
He's 2 for 2 though, and now Hackers, maybe he can get some
이러면
shields
모른다.
off.
모른지
2v2.
아직 모른다.
Zap is down, dropped his very low HP.
알다. 이거 올라가 이겼다.
Don't think they're going to be able to get the rest here. They're going to slide it
때문에 올라가
instead.
무조건.
In fact,
지지.
he'll find 2. Sykes the last hope here for Envy. Hackers trying to survive, trying to buy the time for Effect to come and join the fight. Sykes is going to be next. But Sykes! Sykes is the last alive, does what he can for Envy, but it's not enough. It's Alliance who will close out game
마지막에
number 1 here on
MB
Broken
잘
There are only 2 EMEA
하긴
teams
했네.
in this lobby, but one of them who knows they've
까비.
got what it takes to win
Alliance.
is Alliance, and they put up a huge
맛있게 하네.
amount of points to kick us
올라가
off here
점수는
in New
적어도
Orleans.
맨날
What a
만년
game
2등.
from Alliance. They navigate the edge of that zone so well.
맨날
And
제일
it
먼저
didn't need to be
매치
asked
포인트
twice. They
달성하고
walked straight to the top of that building that Envy had held for so long.
우승 못하는 팀.
And then if there's one man that doesn't feel pressure in endgame situations, Effect gets the call, 2 weak inside the building, slides in, does not second guess it, gets those 2. And then the 2v1, even though Sykes gave it his all, was just too much to overcome.
I love the aggression from Alliance. Don't give Envy the time to think about how they're going to play this
우승을
endgame.
못하니?
Also, what was
몰라요.
important, because Effect
너네
had already
하라니까?
used the mother load, they knew they were an ult down in that fight. So how do they take advantage of it, catch them off guard, and take them by surprise? And not
우승
only
좀
do they get a
해줘.
victory, they get a
와,
victory with
28점이나
16
먹었어.
kills. They are already
Oh my
over
goodness.
halfway towards match point.
That is a
잠시만,
monster
뭐야.
first game coming in from Alliance. 16 kills in a match point finals lobby here on Championship Sunday. That's kind of special from the EMEA team, and it feels like they're taking the responsibility of the region on their shoulders. Next man legend will be Newcastle. No Newcastle available for quite some time. I won't say for the rest of the series because we don't know how long it's going to go. There's a good chance that Newcastle could become available again.
Yeah, you never really know with what's going to happen because, of course, with legend bans in match point, if an entire class does get banned, essentially it starts to reset, and the first banned legend in that class gets put back into action. So if that does happen, it could be exciting.
Well, match number 1 was absolutely superb. Broken Moon, though, we're going to have to say goodbye as we're going to change maps in just a few seconds' time as match number 2 is coming up in our match point finals. Alliance with the win in match number 1. Who's going to take match number 2?
마지막에 누가 있냐? 걔네가 이겼잖아. 현나비 팀들 팀 애들이 이겼는데 그때 이겼을 때 아니 벌써 끝났다고라는 생각으로 다들 탄식
The
지르는
return of
게
Area
진짜
51, Alienware's highest
재밌었죠.
performance desktop yet,
게임은
equipped
그네
with powerful
꺼내.
Intel Core Ultra processors.
네, 권액이 어느 팀이야 라는 것보다 다들 어라? 게임 끝났어 혹시? 라는 느낌이
Engineered to evolve alongside your game.
그 게임 벌써 끝났어 라는 그 사실이
Encounter the
되게
legendary Area 51
충격적으로
at
다가왔어요.
alienware.com.
게임 오래 하는 게
The
최고지.
human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a
3게임점
day.
18게임점 그거는 3게임점이긴
It's
한데
time your chair evolved.
18게임점은 좀
Secret Lab Titan Evo.
몇 시간이야 그러면?
Ergonomically engineered
9시간이요?
gamers.
지금부터 9시간은 와 연휴 이거 휴일 삭제되는데 이러면 음. 13게임 정도는 충분히 볼만하다라고 생각을 해요. 13게임 18게임 말고 13게임 우리 EWC 때 기적을 한번 다시. 그러면 얼라이언스가 우승해주겠지.
Red Bull is the official energy partner of the Apex Legends Global Series.
레드불은 발로란트 쪽에도 스폰하고 있지 않나? 그냥 e스포츠 다 스폰하는 중. 시공참.
Yeah, you can go, 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 go! Shot this, come! Kill this guy, kill his fucking ass! He's sliding
그러니까
down!
레드불은
Shield, shield! I can't!
잠시만. 원래 폰보다 왔는데 폰 결과도 봐야겠다.
Kill him! Bullet, he's just on me both! Yeah, one second, yeah, just heal. Play up now! Get side, go! Just fuck his head, no? Last one! Outside! Kill it! 50! I'm stuck! I can't him! I can heal! Yeah, I'm trying to heal! Give me knock, I'm batting! 1 HP! Yes! 1 HP below! Fucking kill that!
스노다요? 아니요. 그 오늘 1시간 보다 왔는데 바로 페널티 먹고 10등에서 포인트권 들어가니 많이 싸움하고 있었는데 바로 필레인 가속 페널티 받아가지고 오늘도 노포인트일 것 같겠다 싶어서 끄고 그냥 AGS 보러 왔는데
I will. I may. Just after you should. Match point finishes. If it finishes, who knows how long it will take today? Do you have a number that you're kind of thinking of today with
I don't do that.
where we're going?
Have you noticed I'm never on the predictions? It's for good reason.
I think
I've ruined it for everyone.
A little bit cheeky that you're not on the predictions, if I do say so myself, but there was a time when you used to be a curse. Anyway, match 2 is upon us, and it does mean we are moving away from Broken Moon, and we are now moving into Storm Point, which of course changes everything here, because we're going to have an entirely different set of teams that not only are good at this map, but they've prioritized it in the POI draft.
Yeah, like you say, there's going to be different drop spots, there's going to be different zones, different legends, compositions. All of this stuff is just going to make this probably the most fascinating match point finals that we've ever had in the ALGS. Just so many variables that you have to think about as a team, a coach, a player, whatever it is, as a fan. What composition is my team playing? Where are they going to be dropping? We've got you up to date. Don't worry, we'll keep you informed of everything that's going to be going down. But I mean, game number 1, Alliance, we need to take a second to talk about that, because what a run that was. 16 kills alongside the placement points. It's the perfect start for a match point finals.
And Alliance coming from Atmos Station as well on Broken Moon, that is not an easy rotation by all means. For a while, remember, they were trapped on the eastern side and we thought they would have a fight with the Twerkaholics, but then they just slowly walked their way in. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't take unnecessary fights. Notice how they noticed Empire were there and they said, actually, we're just going to surpass them and play for position. Empire went on to kill the Twerkaholics. A very intelligent play from Alliance. As you just saw, Storm Point is going to be map 2, and there's confirmation Newcastle will be banned. Not just for match 2, but for the entirety of match point finals, unless the entire support class gets banned, which it probably won't. Probably.
Yeah, exactly. Just a good probably, once again. We never know at this point. But as we head towards match number 2, it's going to be, like you say, Newcastle ban. We now move to Storm Point, and I like the fact that we start on Broken Moon and Storm Point, two of the historically faster, more aggressive maps for these teams to play on, where those KPs start to really kind of flow, and you don't see those big POIs with a lot of buildings in, where we have more of a kind of stacked end zone. So this is the POI draft. What are you taking away from this one, Dan?
Green Stego got Lightning Rod. They picked it 7th. Again, this is what I was alluding to earlier. If you finished in that top 10 from winners bracket, you're guaranteed at least one good pick. And we'll have to see how they move forward with it as well. I'm not sure those names are quite adding up to who is on the map, but we'll get that sorted out a little bit later. Anyway, certainly teams here to look out for. Going to be the likes of Green Stego, Babo down at Pylon as well, VK Gaming at Sito Station, and GHS Boom at Cenote Cave.
You see, a lot of POIs, I would say, that are not first picks for a lot of these teams, and that's another thing to take into consideration. Things like scrims and drafts where players are getting used to playing from certain POIs. There's a little bit of familiarity a lot of time with 2 or 3 different POIs, maybe.
분명 POI 위치는 다 다르고 지형도 다 다른데 왜 상대적인 위치는 다 똑같지?
Is Alliance, because if you look towards the northern side of Storm Point here.
That might be a good thing. It might come down to this shit.
아니 이거 왜 이래?
Twerkaholics, however, you never know what to expect with these boys.
Yeah, like, let's show you something different. Anyway, let's talk about zone. Let's talk about where we are.
찐빠가 나지?
Yeah, they should just go Echo.
Yeah. I got a 2 to 4 for some.
Play for third beacon info, because this could go either side of that mountain range.
Yeah, could be closer towards Furia rather than on the pylon side. But certainly 9 Lives, Furia, Babo, you know, they're going to have early priority to this one. Even Rival Esports moving from Jurassic, depending on who does have those ring consoles. Of course, they do get covered up a little bit by some of the player names. But just looking across at where potential fights could be happening, not only are Alliance currently walking towards Twerkaholics, but you have to remember there are teams in the area that could third it if it does happen. But this is what we were alluding to, the potential fight, as the Twerkaholics have already done some damage to Alliance here.
Well, they're going to get blue armor as well. Managed to get to that Evo Harvester, which is going to give them a real opportunity here. Lunix wants blood. You can see that. He's chasing him down. He's got it 2 times on that charge rifle. And if you haven't got blue armor on Alliance, it's a scary, scary weapon to feel firing over your shoulders. You try and retreat.
I mean, this is amazing to see Twerkaholics continuing to play this way, continuing to be aggressive against a team that has just dropped 28 points. They are so confident in their engagements. They do get an armor check though and notice that Alliance are up to blue as well. I think that one player, probably Hackers, was able to go away and get an Evo Harvester there. But Alliance are not one to be shying away from a fight either, may I add.
I mean, just look at this effect, by the way. He has the sling weapon. We'll go back to that in just a few seconds' time as Rival Esports inside of this building, a pylon. They've got a fight on their hands as well. It's 9 Lives on the other side.
아니, 나인 라이즈는 그냥 그건데.
Gotta put that R99 to good use. 9 Lives are struggling a little bit. The armor should be enough to take Rivals through this. And Rivals will eliminate 9 Lives.
Twerkaholics 언제 죽었어?
Twerkaholics have just been eliminated by Alliance, so they'll win that 3v3.
Rival Esports trying to escape. They're not going to be able to either. And that's one of those fights you look at. It's like, who really came out on top of that one? It was maybe a little bit early to be fighting in that situation, especially this side of Pylon where a lot of teams are going to be rotating through and being that aggressive. If it stalls out, you know where the zone is going. There's going to be teams there to third, so that's one that maybe a few of the teams involved in that might look back on and go, wasn't the smartest decision.
이렇게 털면 안 보이겠다.
Up against each other at the moment. Pricey's taken a lot, but of course is a potential for a Void Nexus just to get away. And it looks like that's going to be the play to avoid Babo, and they will hold their ground. Just to touch on that fight once more, off screen between Alliance and Twerkaholics. What an important one for Alliance. If you think about as match point finals go along, if we get back to Storm Point later, they would have already had that one up over the Twerkaholics now and maybe can scare them away.
And also you look at Legend composition, Legend bans, the fact that Effect was playing Ballistic and found himself a Rampage, uses the sling weapon, he's going to be able to decimate more than one player, and I think that might have actually been a difference maker as we unfortunately didn't quite catch it, but for Alliance, now they can chill. They got the Trident, they can loot, they got 3 more KP, and now they're on 31 points. So remember the cutoff, or should I say, to become match point eligible is just 50.
That was going to be my question. How early can Alliance hit match point here? Because that early fight gives them the confidence now and the freedom to rotate. It is a long journey, but they have the Trident. You've won the fight, you've got the reward of the Trident, and now you can skirt all the way around the western side if you like to try and get to the southern side of this map. There is a reality where Alliance are on match point after 2 games.
바닥을 기지 않을까.
JHS Boom are hearing a Trident, but not seeing a Trident. And because of that, they're going to move towards Jurassic and try and rotate a little bit themselves. NRG going to really frustrate someone who might try and find a Void Nexus to go back to, because that's going to be destroyed here by Guild. But they're in a pretty good spot, actually playing the eastern side of Pylon. Or excuse me, the western side of Pylon. They're kind of holding out those teams who are going to try and rotate through. Yanyu will fall. As NRG get focused, they should, and I say should, be able to get back and get it back on its feet, but instead there's just so many bullets flying in that Guild goes down as well.
Everyone is having a pop. And now Timmy's the last remaining player is going to have to try and work out how on earth they keep them in the game. Remember, it was an early exit from NRG in match 1 as well. You do not want to fall too far behind in match point finals. It is a back and forth dance between the Void Passage, but sadly, NRG eliminated. And it will be Lord of the Rings getting jobbed up.
Falcons versus Shopify Rebellion.
팔콘 대 SR.
Former teammates.
바보는 계속 아까 그
Many a
위치
land
치고 있네.
champion in this fight.
Over to Fury though. This is outside the north side of
Empire
Barometer on the nut
퓨리아가
building. And it's Empire who are having to
플레이어
use that
키가 슬레이어
EMP
죽였다.
to try and get that opening damage. They're trying to kind of, I don't know if they want to rotate here or if they want to just shut off one of the angles, but this seems fairly isolated at the moment.
I mean, a lot of utility used there by Empire. I think he was just trying to reset and take a breath. Remember, they were involved in taking down NRG. So they probably just wanted a moment to have
Fury
a good think about what they wanted to do, and Furia say, you know, we don't need to be taking this one, and as you mentioned, will be out of there. Now, Shopify Rebellion, we speak about LAN champions, there's a couple on this team, and of course MT, not a LAN
얼라이언스가
champion
킬 다
yet, but one of the best
먹어서
IGLs around.
쇼피파이
Waltzing
9점
yet to pick up that
먹었는데도
land championship
5등인 거
himself.
진짜 개웃기네.
Take a look at our map overhead then. It is going to be pulling towards Pylon even more. The question is it going to be the Babbo position where it pulls towards those triangle buildings? Or is it going to go down towards the 100 Thieves side?
Yeah. It's one of those, isn't it? You've gambled on, fingers crossed, north or south building, and it could be the difference maker, not just in this game, but if you think about match point finals as a whole, how much that could affect your chances of being eligible if you can have a big win here on Storm Point. You can see SAUL were thinking about transitioning out of Jurassic Park, but they got forced back by 100 Thieves. I think that's very important for 100T. They need to make sure they bully anyone who tries to go through their Jurassic Gate.
Twisted Mind's in a great position. That's one of the buildings I was talking about. Those little triangular tent buildings that can be so good towards the end game. So many zones do actually pull right outside of where that building is. And they will be, like I say, crossing their fingers and anything else that will cross that the zone pulls towards them.
Cat just trying to spot out any players that might be arriving at Pylon and joining them just below them. But there's plenty of space to play within Pylon, but the zone unlikely to pull actually onto that POI, of course. So it is a risky position to try and hold, and maybe just a desperate last attempt to do so. As Team Falcons, Storm Point is usually their bread and butter. They've got 3 wins on it throughout this tournament, but of course they did play extra games through the elimination bracket that some in the winners did not. But it's actually 100 Thieves and NRG who are the highest point scorers on this map, and of course NRG already eliminated. Broken Moon and Storm Point, the best maps for NRG, and they're already out of both.
Well, I tell you what, I was about to say, I'm not sure the Green Stego were watching their back, and then just at the right time, they turn around. Zero almost gets clipped, managed to keep himself alive, and now Falcons have got some decisions to make because it's only 5 seconds until this zone starts to close, and it's going to be the evac. Falcons fans, hold your breath.
Up into the sky.
팔콘이랑 그린
Adjust
쓰고
your
싸울 것
radar and
같았는데
make sure you
팔콘이
can
탈타
find a
타고
pinpoint
그냥
position
넘어가 버린.
to work with.
이거
It
바보랑
looks like they're going to skirt around the eastern side actually,
여기도
maybe transition to
한
the
팀 있지
southern
않았나?
part of
발런
this pylon.
이쪽에.
And I guess it works for now, but I think this position is just an assessing position, right? Get somewhere that's safe, and then you move in once you've been able to spot something else out.
The difficulty for them is how do they rotate from here, right? You look at the composition again that they're playing. They don't have a Newcastle, that's been banned, so they can't hold down this position.
Oh.
They don't have Catalyst to try and rotate.
양각으로 사고 나가겠는데.
There's going to have to be maybe a Void Nexus play from Zero to try and get them into zone if it does shift. Elsewhere, Alliance. Already got some KP, they're looking for more.
Remember, it's Empire on the other side of it, and Empire have held well, and the Dark Veil will come down defensively. They're only a 2, though, so Alliance are trying to hunt them down.
Yeah, and once again, it's Effect. Who is going to be the difference maker with that Rampage. However, Effect has gone down, because the SAUL are looking at this one from a little bit of distance, so they close that gap, and now all of a sudden it's up to Hackis. Going to hit the Void Nexus, try and get away, but they're not going to be able to. Alliance, the winners of game number 1. Have to watch from the sidelines here in game number 2.
That's very important for the rest of the lobby. You don't allow Alliance to go too far ahead of things here. They are on 33 points, still brilliant after 2 matches. But it means that they won't be getting to match point eligibility just yet.
점수 대량으로 먹고 이제
SAUL, by the way, just remember how well they played yesterday.
팔콘 어째 들어오긴 했는데 이거
Falcons inside the building, Green Stego in front of
끝났다.
them.
뭐야?
Will deal with 1, but it's up to Zero and Waltzy now to try and clutch this situation. They've tried to force their way into this building. Zero using the Void Passage to try and create some creative angles. And now, having started a little bit of a scuffle inside, they might have the time here to get their reds onto Hao, and yes, indeed they do.
Yeah, as soon as they started that fight, Cat then arrived.
그린 스타고만 손해 본 거야, 이거.
That's going to slow things down once again, and this fight has started to turn in their favor now.
Falcons.
Do they want to swing on this one to get the finish? Yes, they do indeed. Empire have been eliminated in the meantime. Zero will go down, and now it's all up to Hao. Hao won it. And Green Stego have been eliminated, but now the third party arrives.
Yeah, and he's sadly just on Fuse, doesn't have the ability to escape. But does get a shield swap.
And he has a knockdown shield to play around here, and Hao is still trying to make it work, but Falcons will finally fall.
Still good points on the board for Falcons. They're up to 16. It's not a terrible start after 2 matches for them. They're currently residing in 2nd place. But of course, there is going to be big points available for someone in this final zone. 100 Thieves are still holding the northern side. You can see right on the corner of your screen there in that building. But the zone is actually going to move closer towards Pylon. A little bit unexpected for some of these squads. And I imagine it's just going to finish on the edges of it.
Well, again, 100 Thieves in a very good spot. They can play the height of their platform. They will just about be in on the edge of that building as well, but they've got to hold out the likes of S8UL, who still have players alive. They have GHS Boom on that side of the map. They have VK Gaming down on the southern side is what we're looking at right now, where VP are going to have to work uphill, and they've got Alcadzia to their left, and a little team called Shopify Rebellion to their right.
100 Thieves take down Sharky. They move away from their building just to ensure that they don't allow that one player to escape.
The big thing here, Sharky, I think, was trying to get a Void Nexus down for them to pour into, so that now makes it very difficult for the 2 remaining members of S8UL to get into zone.
I think he did get it down, but 100 Thieves deleted it very quickly off of Storm Point and said, we don't fancy allowing you to have that rotation. And now, S8UL have to move all the way through Jurassic Park and through GHS Boom. And we know that GHS Boom have been very good at fighting.
12 squads remaining then, 8 teams already out of this lobby. And we mentioned how Fury are going to have to move uphill alongside Alcadzia and Virtus Pro. Shopify Rebellion still the team trying to hold them out, and you can see the fences are down. It's going to be such a tough rotate. You get the feeling there's only going to be one winner from this position. And Furia know they only have 20 seconds to make this move. Alcadzia have got them surrounded right now.
It's going to be 2 separate 3v3s. Alcadzia versus Furia as SR are taking on Virtus Pro. Not does damage, but will fall.
Love this angle being taken by Pricey as well. They also have the Void Nexus down if they want a retreat here. Pricey wants to finish this himself though. VP eliminated on the other side of this hill in this fight, and Player K for Alcadzia will be able to take down the final members of Furia.
Shopify Rebellion also won their engagement. Now Babo are having a look at them. GHS are also fighting VKG elsewhere as GHS Boom have got that initial knock, and now they're looking to apply some Boom with the grenades.
Rampage Sling weapon here on the Ballistic is going to be the difference maker once again. So much damage output. That's now 100T with a PK in the hands of Phony. Look for one.
This is an insane amount of fights happening in this round as well, by the way. There's just not much playable space and a lot of chokes you've got to push through. VKG, a slither of health, they'll be eliminated in 10th position. And again, 100 Thieves, they move from the north, they control Jurassic Park. That's been their aim right from the very start.
VK Gaming gone, like you say, just not afraid to overextend. They don't want to let anyone within the vicinity of the building they're holding down. They recognize how much value it is. As now we go back to the south, Shopify Rebellion inside of the building. And assault in Babo. That's going to be a big knock for them. They're playing for a game-winning position here.
Shopify Rebellion have the building to work with, and they are assaulting Babo at the moment. But Alcadzia are going to join in as well. Straight into the other building, trying to get angles.
Pricey going to queue through the wall. Babo inside, Pricey, oh my goodness, this man's nemesis is hitting so different. 50 bullets to play with. Now has to turn his attention towards Shopify Rebellion, who have seen this fight go down, and now they're trying to rotate.
100 Thieves doing the same thing, holding out GHS Boom, and when you hold out, you need to be communicating at your very best. So let's jump into a listening and see how 100 Thieves are thinking.
Come back, Evan.
Matt here.
On us. On you, Evan.
Wait. Yeah.
On you, Evan.
Hold him aside, I'm good.
30, right. Swinging left.
Yeah.
Left as well.
보여줘 GHS.
I can go behind him a bit. Tell me. I'm down, that's all you.
오 GHS. 이러려면 뒤를 봐. 오 할만해. 오 삐기. 나이스.
100 Thieves can't hold one more time, and it's GHS Boom who take out 100 Thieves and now control this side of the zone. But Alcadzia probably seen this going down, they're trying to wrap it.
they are moving fast through those void passages as well, but they're also being shot by another squad behind. I think Twisted Minds were having a look at them, and GHS Boom should have been able to reset, will reset here, but do they know Algs are going to be playing out to their south? That's the real question, but a great push from GHS. Again, you feel for 100 Thieves after they held 1, 2, 3 teams, but couldn't hold the 4th.
You can see where this zone is going to be pulling as well. Envy in a fantastic position for the second time in 2 games.
Yep.
SAUL did manage to, by the way, even though it felt like it was almost impossible for them to rotate after what happened with them and 100 Thieves and Sharky going down, they get the reset, and now they are in a pretty good position as well. Shopify Rebellion have to go a long way here. They're the team that's on your screen, and they are the furthest away from where this zone is going to be pulling.
Yeah, they could wrap all the way around west, just as Algs did if they would like to, because you've got a little bit of cover from Pylon to work with that one. You can, of course, scout out via MT and the Crypto first, just to try and assess the situation, and that looks to be what Shopify Rebellion are going to do. They're just skirting on the western side, trying to avoid gunfire, because then they can control the south of this next zone.
15 seconds till that zone starts to close here. Envy know that the neighbors are going to get a little bit closer as that clock starts to progress, starts to dwindle down. Twisted Minds are trying to make their play with the Void Nexus. Remember, Twisted Minds are early on, I think, banked on this pulling down to the south side of Pylon and had to adjust their game plan accordingly to get into a position to fight for this endgame.
Yeah, the P2020s are locked and loaded because this is about to pop off because there's about 5 teams all in the same area. SAUL, the first to move out onto the east, and this rampage could tear through teams.
Tearing through some shields right now. The door will be reinforced by the Catalyst, but there's a Knuckle Cluster that's just going to blow it back open. SAUL want to try and take this fight. The P20s now come out. No knocks as yet. But finally, it's going to come in, but it's going to be Zainu from Shopify Rebellion. Who's going to be the player who's getting involved?
Envy have lost 2. Envy now just trying to play the survival game, maybe for a couple of extra placement points. But SAUL, as Cat now drop on top of them, and SAUL have to go inside the building.
Envy have been eliminated. Cat, who are holding down the majority of this game from that high ground, will now transfer to the low ground. On the other side of zone, GHS Boom completely control it. Algs are now inside of this building, strafing Flame, dodging, ducking, diving, weaving towards Zainu. Can't quite get in with the final shots from that Evrate though.
I mean, good job if you can keep up with this with all the Void passages dropping down. Shopify Rebellion eliminated in 5th. Void Nexus now used by Algs. Can you actually get away with this though? GHS Boom say no. They deny the Void passage. They divide the Void Nexus and they say, let's get back up.
And now they can use this low ground and the PK they found on the floor to maybe think about closing out an endgame inside of this building once again. Algs will be eliminated. We're into our top 3, but they might be next now. It's Twisted Minds. Albrelele comes in with that havoc. They clean up the downs. One more player left alive, I believe, on the side of Cat, and it's a 3v3 elsewhere between Twisted Minds and GHS Boom.
So GHS Boom will hold the outside of this building, and of course that single solo player, Taxington on Cat, will influence how this circle is going to go as well, unless Twisted Minds can quickly take him out before their fight. Otherwise, depending on what Taxington does, could really change who's going to win this game.
I mean, the head glitches here that Twisted Minds have would make it very that GHS Boom potentially could make it very difficult for Twisted Minds to break this, but they do have a little bit of height to play with, and they do have a certain man whose name is Albrelele. He has that havoc in his hands, and he could change this fight.
Worth noting, GHS do have a ballistic though, very good for these endgame fights, just for the pure advantage you get out of everything in ballistics kit, and especially those whistlers can really hit hard.
Algs just trying to find where this solo is at the moment. He's going to check inside, see if he can find that free KP. Taxington still being a nuisance.
잘 숨어있네.
The reload comes in.
Oh.
And now he finds him, he abducts him through the box. It's 100 damage. Alp wants the KP. Alp will almost get the KP, but it's a void passage away. Cat will be eliminated, and GHS, they're the ones who get the kill.
Oh, they're surrounding them as well, and they'll use the Ash Portal to take another angle over him here.
Enemy inside of this building, though. It's been a little bit of a nuisance, but look at this. Through the catwalk with the PK and the P20s. And it will be GHS Boom who win your match number 2 here in our match point finals.
How many booms for GHS? I think that's at least 6 from me, but Twisted Minds will put up big points as well. Sadly, they had to focus so much on Cat there and Taxington just to ensure that he didn't really change the game, but sadly by focusing on him, he kind of did. But GHS Boom, a team that have been fighting so well throughout this tournament, a team that would not have had the chance to be on the main stage if this wasn't an ALGS Open, have just won a game on LAN here on the main stage.
And not only that, they got 9 kills alongside it as well. The way they managed that end game was so impressive. I love the fact that when they got the damage, they pull immediately. They try and turn damage into kills. They don't play scared. They see the advantage and they turn it into a win. I think that's the difference that we're seeing in these lobbies at the moment. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of nerves from these open teams. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of nerves in these end games.
順位を上げたでしょう。アルバレリ
取りに行く。側にいるので、足を引っ張ってくれそう。
タキシントンだけが残りました。さあ、3-3-1のファイナルファイトになります。
ツイステッドマインズ、フェロバリケードないので、エリアは取りに行きづらいですよ。アルティメット敵が GHS 側に置きましたけど、今。だから何か今日。
이거 보고 일본어 중계 반응이 보고 싶어.
歪み出した。
いや、行きますね。
さあ、タキシントン取りに来る。GHS どう動く。
ただこれで GHS 側に1人いった。取り切った3対3。
アルブラレディがちょっと分断されてはいるのか。いい動きですが、この1人を取られないか。フェロバリケードが邪魔をするが横を取っている。
わあ、진짜。
GHS ブーム。先ほどの0ポイントから一気に復活のチャンピオンとなりました。初めての世界大会、初めての決勝戦、見事な2ゲーム目のチャンピオンとなりました。 GHS は残り29ポイントでマッチポイント点灯です。第2番はオルターという宣言でした。さあ、それでは今の GHS のチャンピオンハイライトで見ていきましょう。アフローも99で
あと1枚。
いやー、ここは丁寧に打っていった。
タイミングはエンパイアですね。
はい、先ほどエンパイアを打ったところです。エフェクトが1人でいっていく。
2v3。
さあ、エフェクトが2人落とし、1人落としてます。さらにアンラッキー。
2v1 になりましたね。
これでネクサスに手